Let's go. That's it. Be a good boy. Yeah, be good. Now sit. There's a good boy. So, you brought us up here for all this again? Up to Washington for this? Now, what you want, Joe?
I just thought I'd cram some seagull gullets down your throat till you're shitting pants for a week.
What?
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 Hold on.
What?
Okay.
Wait.
All right. Maybe we can do a normal review for once. Y'all ever thought about that?
What?
Tell me, what's a timberman want with being a wiki?
Just looking to earn a living, just like any man. Starting new.
On the run. Keeping secrets, are you?
No, sir.
Why don't you spill your beans?
So here we are, going to talk about a little movie called The Lighthouse.
If you haven't guessed, that's what we're parodying now.
Yeah.
This might be the newest film that we have ever reviewed on the show, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's very recent as well. Though, looking at it, you would never assume it came out in 2019, huh?
Yeah. Honestly. Yeah,
Why am I still talking like a sailor?
You're the only one that's still.
I should probably just drop this act right now.
Oh, Nick, always the showman.
Nick.
I'm not Nick.
Nate. Shit. This is gonna be an interesting episode. I can already tell. Nate, Alex, you guys have both, I presume, have seen The Witch.
No, we didn't actually. Yes, we did.
Alex?
No.
Wait, Alex, you've seen The Witch.
No, I haven't.
He hasn't. I even asked
You
him
haven't?
on the day
No.
we watched it.
It's a horror movie, right?
Well, so is The Lighthouse.
No, not really.
It is. Well, actually, that's debatable. A lot of people have said it's more of a psychological thriller than it is a horror.
See.
Well, we'll get into that because there's a lot to unpack in this movie. So I have seen The Witch. The Witch.
Just call it The Witch. People call it The Witch.
So, I have seen The Witch, and I enjoyed that movie. I don't think I was blown away by that as much as a lot of other people were, but I was more excited, I think, for this movie by Robert Eggers, the same director, because I think this kind of movie is more my speed. It looked like more of an art house horror thriller kind of a take, and I like Willem Dafoe, the great big bushy beard.
He's really looking like the guy from the Gordon's Fish and Chips.
Yeah, he does.
So Nate, did you have any expectations going into this after having seen The Witch?
I did, yeah. Knowing Eggers, he's this kind of a guy who I realize he adds a lot of layers of literature to his works. Like, you can see that he's dabbling in a lot of different authors, a lot of Melville, a lot of Edgar Allan Poe, a lot of Lovecraftian kind of literature going on. And I kind of saw that when I first saw The Witch. Like, I could totally tell he's basing this off of, like, Longfellow and Nathaniel Hawthorne, Puritan, like, folklore tales. So he has that kind of style to his storytelling. And I had that expectation of, well, he succeeded in The Witch. Let's see how he pulls it off in this one. And, I mean, I was impressed. I was weirded out, but impressed.
And then, Alex, you going into this not having seen The Witch.
Yeah.
Was this on your radar before Nate dragged you to it for this episode?
Yeah, it was. I had heard. I don't really keep up a whole lot, but I had heard about it and heard it was kind of a bit weird. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was on my radar. I pretty much went into it blind. I knew it was going to be weird. I knew it was Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, but I didn't know what kind of movie it was going to be because, again, never saw The Witch. Didn't really know anything really about the director. So
Right.
So this movie is about Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe are a couple of sea salts who go off to this lighthouse to basically just man the lighthouse. You know, they're going to be confined together basically for a certain amount of time. And Willem Dafoe has done this quite a few times. This is his Lighthouse. This is what he's used to. Robert Pattinson is his first time there. He's kind of a younger guy. A lot of the movie's about the power dynamic between the two of them. How Willem Dafoe is the one in charge of all this, and he tells Robert Pattinson, "You're gonna do this. You're gonna do all the hard labor. I'm gonna watch the Lighthouse at night."
Because I tell you, I scrubbed this here place twice over.
And I say you did nothing of the sort.
You can barely understand a word out of Willem Dafoe's mouth, and he steals the entire movie.
It doesn't
all the
matter
time.
if you can't understand him. You get the idea that
Yeah.
he's trying to convey. Like, it's just, yeah.
Actually, I think I didn't understand Pattinson more than I didn't understand Dafoe.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely moments with both where it was just like you would just try to pick up on keywords just to follow the conversation.
What?
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 The movie kind of starts off with this clash between the two, but then it quickly turns into something else entirely, and it gets very weird. And if you've seen The Witch, you kind of have an idea of where this goes, but multiply that by 100.
What?
What?
What? What?
What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? What? Let Neptune strike ye dead, Winslow!
So basically, going into this, I was convinced about 5 minutes in that this was going to be my favorite movie of the year. I absolutely love the look of this movie. I
Oh, the
love the
look
way
is
he uses the
fantastic.
aspect ratio. I love the way he uses the black and white photography. The movie looked to me like it was inspired by silent films, and it's easy to point to German expressionism.
Yeah.
But I would even say stuff like, I saw this movie called Man of Erin, but I like some of the cinematography in that movie, and I felt like Eggers kind of captured a little bit of that. Just the way he uses black and white photography, uses the wide open landscape, the sea, the rocks. It's a beautiful looking movie, and it looks like a silent film.
It does. I mean, I think one of the things that was coming to me was a lot of Ingmar Bergman films, like The Virgin Spring, I think in The Seventh Seal, like using that kind of stark contrast of black and white and using the same kind of aspect ratio. It just draws a lot more to just the composition. And I don't know, did you guys kind of feel a little confined with like some of the shots that were there a bit? Like having those black bars like on the edges like that, it just kind of felt like you're kind of cramped like throughout the whole time. And I think intentionally that's, Joe, are these black bars getting tighter on us?
I don't know. I feel a little uncomfortable. I can't quite.
Yeah. Wait. They're closing in on us, Joe. Joe, they're closing in on us. Joe, stop the review. Yeah. Before we get any further, maybe we should talk about the soundtrack of this movie. Probably something you want to talk about, right?
I love the soundtrack.
The soundtrack
Yeah,
is pretty
by
good.
Mark Corvin. Some really amazing, like, dark ambient, modern classical stuff. I think what I really loved about it, too, is I don't ever really remember it being too overbearing. It was definitely present. You can always kind of tell it was there. But at no point was it really taking, for me at least, like, the main focus. But even still, it blended so well with everything and just really added to so much of the atmosphere.
Oh yeah, and especially with that foghorn that kept blasting every 10 seconds or something like that. You don't go crazy just from hearing that day and night. Yeah.
You know what's interesting is that when this movie ended, I realized there's really only 2 people in the entire movie. Well, 3.
3.
There's 3 people.
Yeah.
But for most of the screen time, it's just 2 guys yelling at each other.
Pretty much. Or dancing with each other, or drinking with each other, or...
Yeah, drinking.
And trying to kiss each other.
And stalking each other.
Watching Willem Dafoe masturbate through the tiles in the window.
Okay, I have questions about that. Okay.
You have questions about that?
Really?
So as the movie goes on, weirder and weirder things start to happen. This comes towards the end of the time that they're supposed to be there on this island. They're getting ready to leave, and Robert Pattinson starts seeing mermaids he starts following Willem Dafoe to find out what Willem Dafoe is doing up in the lighthouse at night, and he starts seeing weird stuff, like scary, erotic stuff.
Well, here's the thing. We all know what Willem Dafoe's doing up there. Right, Alex?
Yeah, I mean,
It's hentai.
of course it's hentai. It's tentacles.
By the way, can I say that was like one of the grossest things when Robert Pattinson was watching him.
And the
thing
stuff
of like
is coming.
slime just dripped down.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
At first, I thought it was what I thought it was, and then it turned out to
Yeah,
just
I
be
was gonna say.
slime. I'm like, I still think it was what I thought it was.
Yeah, same, honestly.
But here's the question: is what actually happened? Because this movie does something that I think Joker, the new Todd Phillips Joker movie that we talked about on the podcast.
I think I see where you're going with this.
Right,
Yeah.
and both movies do a similar thing in very different ways, where they question what you're actually seeing. This is the sort of movie where different people will get different things out of it, and what you bring to it, you'll get a completely different experience. But what I read out of it was that Robert Pattinson was going mad, and Willem Dafoe was kind of an asshole, but he just wanted to do his own thing. I don't think Willem Dafoe was actually doing anything up in that lighthouse. I think that Robert Pattinson just drew his own conclusions as to what mysterious things were going on. But there's no clear reading of that.
No, I personally, I think they're both a bit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What Robert Pattinson saw up in the lighthouse, especially with like the tentacles and stuff like that, that's just his own imagination just going off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think Willem Dafoe was weirdly protective of the lighthouse, of the light itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Willem Dafoe definitely was a bit crazy, which is what also drove his former partner insane. And the same thing is happening to Robert Pattinson. He's going much crazier than Willem Dafoe is.
Here's the thing, with me in this movie. So I started out loving this movie. Like, I really loved this movie at the beginning. And as it devolves into madness, I think at the same time I respected it, but I also kind of liked it a little bit less.
Huh, okay.
It kind of drags on a little bit once you kind of get to that point where it's not really just revealing anything anymore. It's just like, let's see how crazy we can get with this.
Well, it's not even that, because I like me some crazy weird stuff that you need to figure out. Like when I think of madness and insanity, I think of something like In the Mouth of Madness, the John Carpenter movie, which I absolutely love that movie. I love the weird darkness of it. But when you start getting into like a more kind of icky, lurid angle, it just kind of turns me off to it a little bit.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of theories that exist out there, and I think a lot of people have made their own speculations what it's about, drawing off of like what imagery is in it, like what Greek mythology it's based off of, Prometheus being a big one of them. I think personally what this is just an allegory of madness that is drawn upon guilt.
Yeah.
I mean, there is this history that Pattinson has with his former timberman that, he confesses towards the very end of the film. And you begin to think, is he actually going insane because of this guilt that is driving him to that? And is the light that he's looking for in this lighthouse supposed to be some kind of a form of salvation? Is this something that he's trying to wipe himself clean of?
Yeah, I think that's something that the movie deals a lot with, in like how, your guilt can really worm its way into your head and kind of distort, how you view everything.
Honestly, if you ask me as well, I think Pattinson just wants a steak.
Yes, but what does he want to do with the steak?
Oh, well,
He wants to cut a little hole in it.
and
What is this, American steak? I think I generally really liked it. I think I liked the movie more when it was kind of more straightforward, and you knew what the hell was going on. And I appreciated when it did the full descent into madness sort of thing. I can appreciate that. I can enjoy that from time to time. Sometimes that works really well for me. And to be clear, my problems with it don't boil down to the fact that it kind of descends into this non-linear thing that you need to work at to understand. My problem with it is that I'm not sure what it's trying to say. And I think for me, a lot of what I'll think of this movie depends on what I'll make of the message. It is a movie where you kind of have to piece together your own interpretation of it, and I just haven't decided yet. So I think for me, I generally really liked it, but the jury is out until I watch it again.
Personally, Joe, I enjoyed it, every minute of it. I like how I went back and saw it 3 times, just to make sure I understood what was going on. But, I mean, I got a lot from it. I think it's not necessarily a clear-cut story, and I like how it's very ambiguous and very visual in what it's doing. I just enjoyed the experience of just seeing these 2 guys just go crazy with each other.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. There was never really a dull moment for me, honestly, even like in just the random points in between kind of conversations and goings on between Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. Everything just kept me fully engaged from the moment it started. I wish there was a little less ambiguity, but on the other hand, I do like that it's
open-ended.
Yeah, it's just out there, just doing its thing, and just like it's up to you to really kind of like pull these pieces together and kind of come up with your own real explanation. And like I said, I loved it. I think it's fantastic. It's amazing.
Well, I guess that's it then, huh?
Yep.
So who wants a steak?